All right, hey guys, so welcome, and this is going to be my actual first poker recording video. We're going to be playing two tables of 10NL Zoom format on ACR. Definitely has a little bit tougher player pool, I would say, in my opinion, than most 10NL games. Just a quick breakdown of the HUD so you guys know. We have our VPIP, PFR. We're also going to have our 3-bet, full to 3-bet. This is going to be our 4-bet. Our C-bet flop and turn, fold to a C-bet. And what we're really going to be focusing on this session is working on stealing and re-stealing. One major league I find that I have is that I don't try to re-steal often enough from the big blind. So we're really going to be paying attention to these stats right here. So with that, this is going to be our steal percentage. This is our fold to steal and a 3-bet a steal percent. And then these are going to be our when to showdown and one at showdown. Alright guys, so with that being said, let's get into it and let's do it. Go ahead and fold the ace-3. So over here, I don't have any info on these guys, unfortunately. This guy, a little bit aggressive in the button, so I think we're just going to go ahead and let this one go. King Jack, we can go ahead and be opening this up from the low jack here. Let's see. Alright, and that is going to be a pretty decent flop for us. So we are definitely going to start this off pretty small. I want to keep this range pretty wide, especially being that we block some of these spade draws here. And we'll go ahead and take that one down. Over on the right table, we got Jack 8 off. I'm looking at these two guys right here. Pretty small 3-bet steal attempts. So I actually think we can go ahead and open this up. We got a lot of folding to C-bet him, not so much. But we're going to take a shot. And we'll take that one down. Alright, we're going to go ahead and open up the King-Queen suited. So we are going to be 4-betting here if we face a 3-bet. And we do not. With that being said, something I'm definitely working on trying to remember is stealing from the small blind, and that wasn't so much a steal, but from the small blind, we definitely want to be more so 4-betting than flatting our 3-bets, being out of position. Alright, we're going to go ahead and open up the 6-7 off. Again, no real stats on these guys. Man, there's a lot of new players today. I normally have a pretty solid HUD here. Alright, and that's a pretty awesome flop for us. Oh shit, I think I think I limped that in. So we're gonna go ahead and start building this pot up. Oops, that's a misclick that I was not paying attention to. That's highly embarrassing. Alright, so we go ahead and get raised on this flop, which is interesting. So now I'm trying to decide if we think a 3-bet here or should we just peel. So I think we're gonna go ahead with the peel here and try to just realize some equity. And I'm trying to decide, I think we could go ahead and maybe raise on the turn here with the gut shot. I don't even know if I like the gut shot with that because at least the jack. We're going to go ahead and call. And we have no choice. We just have to check this down. I don't like the line I took here. That was pretty passive. I definitely messed that hand up from the start, so don't judge me on that one. Not gonna lie, that was kind of embarrassing. Alright, we're calling the ace-10. So to a decent, reasonable size bet here, I think we're gonna go ahead and peel this flop. Okay, so that's kind of a big bet, so I think we are just gonna go ahead and get out of the way. On this table over here, we have an under the gun open, and we are in the cutoff. So normally I would 3-bet this hand. This player seems to be pretty tight over a pretty decent sample of hands, so I think we're going to go ahead and just let this one go. He does fold to 3 bets a little bit, but I just feel like in that situation, I just kind of want a little bit of a stronger hand there. All right, so we got a pretty good flop over here for the most part. We are reverse the big blind, who's taking. All right, and the big blind leads. He donks into us, which is really interesting here. This is definitely one of those scenarios that I'm not really strong on. But I do think we need to go ahead and raise here. Being that our hand is so strong. Yes, he does have sixes in his range. But I also think we're doing this with flush draws, top pairs type hands. That seems to be what I see a lot of donking being. And he's going to go ahead and check to us. So we're going to continue to barrel here. We're not going to go too large here, I don't think. And against the raise, okay, so we go ahead and folds. Against the raise there, I think I'm going to have to lean more towards folding with that at these stakes. So I do just find that a lot of those hands are just going to be really strong hands. But he did go ahead and fold, so I'm happy with the line we took on that one. All right, on the right table here, we have jacks in the small blind. And don't have many stats on this guy as well. There really are a lot of new players today, but we are still going to go ahead and raise this here. And we will take that down, which I'm always happy to do with jacks. And folds. And that obviously was going to be a check fold. Fold that. So just some background info on this player. This is a very interesting player. So they win hands, leave the table. Although real quick on the left-hand table, we got sevens facing undergun and then a hijack 3-bet. So we're going to have to go ahead and let this one go. We're going to flat the queen 10 over here. But I was saying about this player is really interesting. Pretty decent player. I just find that it's really strange that they cash out and restart at 10 bigs all the time. It's just an odd line. Doesn't make any sense. If anyone has any insight as to why a player would do that, the only thing I could think of is to kind of make it look like a fishy player. And I think over on this side, multi-way in this board, we're just going to have to bluff catch here. And now I'm just going to go for some thin value here. And hoping to get called by 5s, 6, maybe 8. 6, 7 on the left, so I'm already thinking I'm already going to label this guy as a fish. Does not have a topped off stack. Topped off in this game, by the way, is 120 big blinds, so he's way off. And that's not a good flop here, so we're just gonna let this one go. Ace Jack, we are gonna go ahead and open in the cutoff over here. Just taking a quick look around to see what kind of resistance I can expect. So not too much. And I have a fish in the big blind, so I'm kind of happy with that. So this is probably the bottom of my range that I'm going to fold. Ace Queen, I would obviously be calling Ace Jack suited, any suited broadways. Alright, so we went ahead and 3-bet with the King Queen against the under the gun player, and we get a pretty decent sized 4-bet, so we are going to let that go. Alright, so I got our small blind open. We're going to go ahead and raise this. We are going to have a C bet on this board. This is really a range bet. It smashes our range, so we're going to go ahead with a little bit bigger sizing. Repping the king and the queen. So this is a pretty interesting board here on the left, and I'm not really too sure what to do on this line. I will say small blind versus big blind play is one of my weakest areas. We did 3-bet this, and he did call. So I'm thinking a lot of weak pairs and Broadway cards, which he's never folding. So I think we're just going to have to check with no backdoor equity. Obviously with clubs or spade, I would definitely be betting. I'm not sure. I think that should have been a C bet, but it's such a wet board. I don't see it getting through very often, and I just really don't have any equity on this board. And we're just going to have to go ahead and fold. Ace 3 is pretty debatable on it open. It's kind of really out of the range, to be honest, so we're just going to let this go with no info. And this guy having a high 3-bet, even in this short, small amount of hands we have there. We are going to open the 6s on the left, and we're just going to take that down. Those small pocket pairs, I use RNG for flatting a 3-bet, being in position. Obviously making sure they are stacked enough to pay us off should we hit our set. Alright, we're going to go ahead and open the king queen and the king jack. Alright, we're going to take the king queen down. That's awesome. Alright, and this goes check check. These guys have super wide ranges. I know it's not a big sample, but I think we can go ahead and fire a small c-bet here. Against this guy over here who's super wide. I love these hands. These are actually one of my favorite hands, so we're going to go ahead and 3-bet this. And we get called in 2 spots. The ace is a great card for us here. And we take down the 3-bet. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and rep this ace here, thinking that it's getting called by small pocket pairs and whatnot, but we are going to go for a large sizing. Ace 4 out of position. I don't like it, and we'll take that down. Alright, we're going to go ahead and open up our 9-7 in the cutoff. I tend to use 2.5 from the cutoff and the button, 2.2 from earlier positions. On the right-hand table, so this is a standard c-bet on a paired low board, uncoordinated. So we are going to start small, though, and kind of hope for a call. Nope. Any decent player should be pretty much peeling that board with overs, so I find that to be a good spot to bet even when we have it. I'm checking that. Alright, so on this table, so we hit an ace on the turn. This is obviously not a good card to be probing with. We are going to check and call a bet. I find that he's more of a bluff catcher at this point, so he has all the stronger aces in his range. We're going to go ahead and call this. So that's a pretty good river card here. So now we lose to ace queen and ace king. But we will chop with every other ace here. I could also see him turning some diamond draws that he had into a bluff on the turn here. We're going to have to call this one and hope for the best. Alright, okay, well that makes absolutely no sense. But we'll go ahead and take that one down. Happy with that outcome. On the left, we are just going to be folding here. And we're going to be folding here. Queen 9 suited on the right table. It's quite a large raise. I mean, being in the small blind, it's pretty standard. So I think we're going to call this. I don't necessarily like it with this guy behind. Limping, playing against limpers is definitely not my strong suit. Okay, so he limps, limps 3 bets, and we're going to fold. This is pretty much always aces, kings, ace-king type hands. Yeah, I think this was a bad call in the first place, but we are just going to let this one go. Alright, pretty good flop on the right here. So me and this player tend to have a little bit of a, like to battle it out a little bit, so I see him raising my big blind quite often. So I definitely don't think we can go for a raise here. I feel like that puts our hand pretty face up if we do. There's no draws, there's no board. Alright, so the king is a good card for him, so I think we can hope he bets here. Alright, so on the turn here, I think we can start putting in a raise at this point. And we're going to go like 19, I think. It's going to be kind of hard for him to fold a king at this point, I think. Oh, I hope I get some action over here. Alright, he's going to call. Okay, so we have the nuts now. So I think we're going to try and get some value from an ace or a king here. And we're just going to go with a really small bet. Definitely trying to target a king or an ace for some value, but he folds. Maybe could have gone a little bit smaller, even like quarter pot size bet. Being that he really just doesn't have a 9 in his range for the most part. First the cutoff. That's debatable. We're gonna call. Alright, we hit top pair, weak kicker. And that's a pretty big bet, so we're obviously not folding here. We're not raising, so I don't think we have any choice but to call. Interesting turn card. Not really. Okay, so obviously our hand is just a bluff catcher at this point. We're going to open up the 3s over here. Shouldn't be seeing too much aggression from any of these players. Oh, and we do. Okay. Alright, my random number. It's kind of weak. We're going to fold. And he's not very stacked. Not sure what to do over here. Obviously, I think I have to call. We're going to go ahead and call. Yeah, king 9. He hit the straight. And that's okay. Maybe a bad call in hindsight. That was pretty big. Yeah. Alright, we're going to open up ace 5. We'll have to go back and look at that hand. I'll go back and review that one. That's one of those spots. I'm going to have to tag that. Alright, over here we're going to be c-betting. I like to go a little bit larger. Really quick. Just going to tag this guy for later. I'm just going to fold this. With the backdoor flush coming in, there's still straight draws. We are going to go for value here. So this is a pretty bad board over here, even for our range, perceived range. This is pretty wet, so we're just going to be checking his back. So when he checks back the turn, the king is a great card for us, so I think at this point we can start going ahead and barreling this. And we'll take it down. So not 3-betting steals too much. I'm gonna fold that one. Alright. So on the left-handed side, on a 4-way pot, I just, with very, very small equity, I don't like getting or c-betting. So we're just gonna check this. And facing a bet and a raise, we're gonna fold. Alright, I got some pocket kings on the right side here. And we are going to be 3-betting. Alright, not a bad flop. A little bit of a wet board. I think we gonna go a little bit larger on this one. I would think flush draws would be raising. Just so many straights come in. I think I have to check this back. That might be a mistake. Probably should be block betting there. With the king close, I obviously have to call here. And that's interesting. So this is an interesting spot. I do think I'm gonna have to let this one go. First under the gun, aces. No ace king, ace queen, flush, ace jack. I think I might have made a mistake giving up the aggression. I'm just so curious here. I just don't see how it can be good. With such a large bet. This is embarrassing, but we're calling. All right. Wasn't sure what to do there. Again, don't think I played that hand well. Not usually one to go into a passive line, and I didn't really think through that he was under the gun. In which case, that board just really doesn't hit his range very well. Might see a little aggression from him. But we can go, okay, well he folded. But we can call 3-bet with this hand. We are going to be 3-betting the ace-queen suited versus the cutoff. And we can go for a small c-bet here. I like c-betting paired boards, especially versus the big blind. Yeah, we'll just take that one down. Excuse me. King 10 on the button, we can go ahead and be opening. Oh, well, I don't think we're going to be flatting here. I tend to stick to more of a 3-bet or fold strategy from the button. King 4, just let that go. I really don't like flatting opens from the button and then getting 3-bet. On the double pair board over here, I'm just going to give up. And we're just going to fold this. We peeled one time, hoping he would shut down and let us just like get the showdown with the 8 there. That didn't happen, so we're going to let it go. I'm going to go ahead and open Queen 10 suited. Alright, we'll take it down. Alright, we got some beautiful pocket rockets. Let's hope we get some value. And that's okay, we're always happy to take it down. Just gonna fold the jack off. There's a limp. Not a fan of what I just did. And see, it now just puts us in an awkward spot. So this is a what not to do and how not to play a hand. And we pick up the gut shot. Yeah, we're just gonna let this go. It looked like, again, like it was one of those trappy, like limp, waiting for a raise type hands that just nobody complied with. Queen 8 definitely would be folding here. There's massive aggression. Alright, seems like we have 2 fish. Unfortunately, that's a pretty bad flop. And we're just going to give up over here. Alright, we're going to be opening the Jack 10 suited on the right side. This King 8 is going to be an open or a fold. Don't expect, well, I have no stats on him, so we'll take it down. So my earlier positions, I like to open up like 4, 5, 5, 6, 6, 7. When we get into the 9, 10 type range, I'm a little bit more. I'd say I'm a little bit more polarized from this position. So opening, we flopped a open ender with the gut shot, so we're gonna go ahead and c-bet. Happy to just take it down right now. And we go ahead and get raised. I think we have to call. I mean, it's a pretty big raise. Let's see what he does. Probably should have folded to that. On this board here, I would normally peel this. This is pretty standard c-bet board. However, this is a pretty big sizing. We really shouldn't be using this sizing too often, so we're just going to let this go. Yeah, we're just going to have to get out of this one. Probably should have folded to the flop raise there. He raised like 8x, which is pretty ridiculous. Yeah, we're going to let it go. Fold to c-bet 100%. He didn't. He actually raised it. So. King, queen off. Gun. Alright, we're going to go ahead and open up ace 10. $10-4 versus the button. Probably should be a fold. I'm gonna let that go. Deuces in the cutoff. We're gonna let that ride. Definitely 100% play a 3-bet or fold strategy from the cutoff. Alright, we can go ahead and check 9. Might see a little bit of aggression here. Alright, so on the left-hand table, we are going to be 4-betting this. Even. Wow, that's a massive raise. We're going to go 23 here. In position, I flat this more often. Out of position, I really don't like flatting. And we get a 5-bet. And this is just going to be a jam. Wish us luck. No snap. I feel like we're against ace, king, or queens. Ace, king. And we'll chop it up. Oh boy, I wish on that board, I wish he had aces or kings. So unfortunately, we both just paid a shitload of rake. Kind of sucks there. Alright, we're going to go ahead and open up the ace-8 off. Not expecting much aggression from this guy. Alright, after he checks it back, I think we can go ahead and start barreling here. 6-4 over here, I don't see much aggression coming from any of these guys, so we were going for a steal attempt with a weaker hand. Alright, so I like this board. This is a pretty good flop for us here. Kind of smashes our range. We also have the flush draw. So we are definitely 100% going to be c-betting here. We're going to go a little bit on the larger side, being that it is multi-way. About 5. Interesting spot. We pick up a pair. And I'm trying to decide if I have any fold equity here against the jack. We're going to go for a big bet. Probably should have gone with an overbet in that situation, though, to pick up a little bit more fold equity. So I'm not really sure how I feel about it. Oh, fuck. Misclick. Not a huge deal, but... And that's a pretty good flop for pocket tens, I must say. And we're going to go ahead and be 3-betting here against this player. He's massively folding to 3-bets, so that's kind of a good sign. So we hope he folds. And he does. Alright, we're going to go ahead and open up the ace-3 suited. Shouldn't see too much aggression. And we flop a pair with a backdoor flush and an over. So I think we can go ahead and c-bet this hand. Our c-bet's getting kind of high here, so I think we need to slow that down a little bit. $10-6 here. Don't have a lot of info on this guy. It doesn't matter where we're folding anyways. But I don't think I'd be opening this hand against a specific player type in the small blind. Opening up ace queen. Again, it's something I need to work on is tagging players, especially in the Zoom games. The normal table format, I'm really good about it. On Zoom, not so much. Alright, small blind limps. We're going to go ahead and raise. We're going to be 3-betting the ace-jack suited on the left versus the under the gun. And he snap calls. And he snaps again. And I don't like that. And then he leads. Odd line. But we're just going to fold. And that's fine because I was going to check that back anyway at that point. His range should have been pretty capped there, being that he's flatting a 3-bet out of position. It definitely kind of maybe looked like pocket tens though, to be honest. Bink to set on the turn. 10-7. Not a lot of aggression. We'll go ahead and open that. Fold the fours. We got a bet and a 3-bet. We're obviously just going to be folding this queen 9 suited here. In this position, it's either a 4-bet or a fold, and we are not going to be 4-betting this. Alright guys, this is going to be the last hand. This is the end of it. I'm just going to let the video go and keep grinding out this session. Hope you guys liked the first video. Obviously, I know I have some major leaks, most likely you guys can see. Before we go, this is interesting. Under the gun, flat, flat. We're going to go for this one. Maybe end this video with a bang. Probably could have gone a little bit bigger. Once this guy folds, I'm not too worried about these guys. Their ranges are pretty capped, so. And we get a call, so I'm definitely narrowing his range down here to small pocket pairs, I would think. This is a fantastic board. Obviously, it'd be a lot better if we had equity on it. And now it gets a little bit interesting. It's either a jam. Or do I give up? I think I just have to give up here. Cut our losses. I don't think he's folding 7s, 8s, 9s, 10s. So we're just going to have to check this back. Being against a fish, I definitely think it's just he's going to call down any bet with any overpair. And then he leads. And we're just going to have to let it go. Alright guys, if you watch the stream, thanks for tuning in. Wish you the best. Again, if you have any comments, feel free, leave them below. Always happy to learn, grow, and get better.